Ran Ross with The Rock Never Stops. It's been a while since I've been on, but it was my birthday a couple weeks ago. Then I had family out here, and it's been a long couple of weeks. If I'm honest with you, I had a funeral to go to, family member that passed. It's been a long couple of weeks, but I'm glad to be back on. I'm glad to see, just to be back out here with y'all. So let's see who comes through today. Today's topic is what teams in the East can potentially challenge the Detroit Pistons for that top three seed. I think it's been a consensus amongst many of us Pistons fans that this coming season is going to be a big year for us. It's going to be another step forward. And the combination of Asar and Jaden Ivey in the starting lineup with Cade, Duran, Harris is going to be something unlike the league has seen in a long time. You are going to have two of probably the most freakiest athletes out there in the NBA in the same starting lineup. And I think it's going to be absolutely marvelous. But it doesn't mean that other teams aren't going to be able to challenge us. Doesn't mean that other teams are not going to be able to push us. And when you think about the marathon that is the NBA regular season, right? I already had a video where I talked to you about in this new three-point shooting era, there's so much more running taking place that it's almost like you're playing 100 games instead of only 82, right? And that's just the regular season because you're covering so much more ground. How you're playing above the three-point line into each corner, closing out, covering pick and rolls, pin downs, flares out to 30 plus feet. It's something unlike we've ever seen in the NBA. So, without further ado, let's just dive into it. Who do you think could really outpace, outcompete the Detroit Pistons? Now, I think the consensus is we have Cleveland and New York. Those are the two teams that I think will be at the top of the East. They have the experience, they have the leadership, they have the talent, they have the depth, they have the star power, the superstar power. Well, I, Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland has some superstar power. I don't know if I give Jalen Brunson superstar status, but he's a star for sure. Karl-Anthony Towns is a star for sure. And I think the collective of talents is pretty incredible in New York. And now with Mike Brown, I think they're going to do some things. I think there's a lot of pressure on this roster. There's a lot of pressure on these players to say, hey, we have to prove it. This is our window. And we're running with the Knicks. And we don't get opportunities like this all the time. So when the moment comes and the city's behind you and you have this opportunity, you're going to make the most of it. So I think they're going to be motivated. I think they're going to be damn good. But now the rest of the league. I've got the Pistons kind of penciled in at number 3. And it's somewhat loosely, but confidently, but loosely. Because anything can happen. Injuries can happen, knock on wood. And then you have trades, you have teams that are shuffling. Things happen throughout the regular season. There's always the unexpected. A player breaks out, right? And then all of a sudden you see something different, right? Is Anthony Simons all of a sudden going to become this productive NBA player who can contribute to winning? He's already a 20 plus points per game scorer, right? Explosive volume 3-point shooting guard paired next to Jaylen Brown. Who knows if that works, right? Dyson Daniels, can he take another step forward? Jalen Johnson, healthy. Zachary Risache. All right, so there's a lot of teams to take a look at, and that's what we're going to do in this video. But before we do, if you enjoy this type of live, interactive space, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. Helps out with the channel. And definitely, it reminds the YouTube algorithm that you enjoy this type of space, so you get notified when I do another interactive live video. With that, let's just start off. The Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are a team that, I'm going to be honest with you, when they're healthy, you cannot count them out. Flat out. You cannot count them out. As an OKC fan, I'm high on the Raptors because of their defense and Ingram for some reason. I'm going to get into the Raptors. Because if I'm honest, it's a lot of guys who have a lot of things to prove. So because you mentioned the Raptors, that's who I'm going to get into right after the Hawks. Okay, Joseph? Appreciate that. But let's start off with the Hawks. Trey Young is probably one of the most slept on NBA superstars I've seen in a very long time. He is a superstar. He is one of them ones. He is a one of one, an incredible talent. His ability to score, shoot, and facilitate, controlling a game at the top of the key. We just have not seen a talent like this in a really long time. You might want to say Steve Nash, but Steve Nash was more of a facilitator first, who happened to just be really efficient offensively. But he also benefited from having prime stat Amari Stoudemire, who was a monster. Prime Sean the Matrix Marion, right? Who was a monster, right? They had Robin Lopez at his best and Rajah Bell, but before then they had Joe Johnson. They always had squads around him. But it's to say that he ain't never put it all together like the way Trey is doing. He just had much better talent. And I'm not saying Trey is better than him, but there's an argument to be made. If Trey had that level of talent, which for the first time, he just might. He just might. Jalen Johnson might take a step up. Zachary Risichet, Dyson Daniels. I think the only thing that he's kind of missing is that bucket, is that perimeter scoring bucket, is that guy on the perimeter, if I'm honest, like a Brandon Ingram, who can get you a bucket in the half court. Jalen Johnson and Porzingis' health is the question mark. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Porzingis has one of the healthiest years he's had in a long time. You know why? Because it's his last guaranteed season. He's an unrestricted free agent after this year. And we all know, drum roll, contract year, best year yet. Considering his age at 29 years old, it is the last big contract that he's going to get for a long time. For a long time. So you know Porzingis is going to play, I'm betting at least 65 games, being fully eligible for whatever rewards or awards that he may be able to receive. An all-star berth, right? Hasn't had that yet. I don't think he's had that yet, right? Um, who knows? But playing next to Trey Young, if you play 65 games, he might be an all-star, bro. He might be an all-star next to Trey Young. Hit him up with lobs, pick and pops, right? He's gonna find him all over the floor at 7'3" with a long wingspan and finishing ability and shooting touch, right? He's gonna eat. He's gonna absolutely eat playing alongside Trey Young. So I think there's a really good chance he has a great year. Adding to that, Onyeka Okongwu, who had a great finish to last season, especially after they just gave him that starting nod and said, "Look, hey, Clint, sit down, double O, you in." And he made the most of those minutes. I think he's going to continue to progress in that. You also got other guys like Muhammad Gay rounding out that front court, and recent draft pick Asa Newell, who looks really promising. Even if not spectacular, he looks really promising, and that's just the front court. I mean, of course, Zachary Risichet is also a little bit part of that front court, but I don't think he's strong enough yet to play that power forward type of position. But at 6'9", if you've watched any videos of him, he's gotten stronger. He's worked more on his individual scoring ability, right? His ability to drop those hips to attack the rim, attack mismatches from the perimeter, and so he's becoming far more than just a shooter or even a guy who shoots and gets out in transition. Now he's showing he can also give you some scoring pop on that perimeter. And collectively, that might begin to reshape what this roster looks like. Other guys that are notable, Kobe Buffkin, right? Going into year 3, there's going to be some more expectations. And if he's healthy from the start, I think he has a lot more impact. But if he doesn't, you know who they just signed? Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil Alexander, the one that the Pistons wanted probably instead of not Duncan Robinson, but probably wanted instead of Karis LeVert, just because he's healthier. Gives you more defense, and he also gives you ball handling, facilitating ability, right? And he can create his own shot. He has a lot of skill at 6'6", 6'7" guard. And then you have other guys like Vic Krejci, or Krejci, uh, Keaton Wallace, guys like that. But you're beginning to look at a roster that has depth, has experience, and has talent. If they have a healthy year, where let's say their top 8 is playing over 65 games, this might be a team that's looking at that number 4 seed, number 3 seed, number 5 seed. The next team that I want to take a look at is what my man Joseph just threw out there, the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors are a team that, look, it's not about if they have talent. It's been about health and do they fit. Now, the crazy thing about it is we know that RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly fit. They just haven't been healthy all last year. And really even the year before that when they actually arrived in Toronto. But now you have the new addition of Brandon Ingram. You still have Scotty Barnes. And then you have Jakob Poeltl, the incumbent center. And then you have a bunch of young guys who really need minutes. And I'm not quite sure what they're doing with all these extra talents on this team. Look, when I go down this list and I look at Ochai Agbaji, 25 years old in a contract year, Colin Murray Boyles, CMB, the one that they just drafted, instead of going after who I thought it was a real simple slam dunk to get what's his name, Kamen Malawach. I thought that was like matter of factly, right? You need a center. You don't have a legitimate backup center. Why would you not go get Kamen Malawach? Why would you not? It just seemed like a no-brainer. Instead, they go after Colin Murray Boyles. And Colin Murray Boyles, to me, is like a poor man's Scotty Barnes. It didn't make a lot of sense unless they're potentially thinking about moving on from Scotty Barnes. Now, the reality is that Scotty Barnes can fetch you a lot in terms of draft capital, in terms of young assets. He's already been an all-star, 23 years old. He had a down year last year because of injuries, but he just keeps getting better and growing. He plays the right way, two-way guy, very skilled, very versatile, dedicated to defense, a great personality that you just love having on your team. I don't see any reason why they would want to move on from him. So it also doesn't make any sense to draft somebody who plays just like him, but nowhere near as good. Doesn't make sense. So I'm not sure what direction they're going in. But if I go through the rest of the guys who need minutes, who are young, you got Grady Dick at 21 years old, Jacoby Walter at 20 years old, AJ Lawson, 25 years old, Jonathan Mobo, 23 years old, Jamal Sheed, 23 years old, Jamison Battle, 24 years old. And then you got guys like Mamu Kashvili. I'm having a hard time pronouncing his name, but I know who he is, though. He's a good player. And you got Ulrich Kamchi, who I really like, who they drafted last year. 6'11", 7-foot, athletic, extremely mobile player out of NBA Africa. Feels like one of those Masai Ujiri project players, but I think he's got a lot of potential in his mobility, his hands, his timing, his defensive acumen, his motor. He has a lot of really good tools. Who knows? Maybe the Raptors are sold on him. And then you got guys like David Roddy as well at 24 years old. So you got all these young guys, right? You're probably going 8 or 9 young guys who need minutes, but you have a set of young starters who are moving into their prime who are not going to relinquish much minutes. What is the vision for this team? Best case scenario, if they can put it all together. That's a huge if. Huge if. I think they definitely give any team in the East a run for their money. If guys fall in line to their roles, if guys fall in line with the system, if, a whole lot of ifs, a whole lot of ifs. Higher upside of Sauron. That's a good question. That's a good question. I'll answer that in a second. I appreciate the question. Uh, if they put all of that together, they can be as good as anyone. However, that bench is suspect. It is. I don't know how much they'll be able to rely upon it. It's really young, but it's talented. How well they buy in training camp is going to say a lot. How they look in the preseason is going to say a lot. So I'll be listening to what comes out of, their media accounts as training camp ensues. Because if things are rolling, they could be scary. But a part of me is like, you got to show me, bro. Because I don't know what direction you're going. Without Masai Ujiri, I have no idea the direction of this franchise. All right, next one. Oh, the question you had: who has a higher upside, Asar or Ron? Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. They both have a lot of upside for very particular reasons. I don't think that Asar has the same. Okay, let me put it this way. If you look at, like, let's say you have NBA Live kind of statistical categories of where you can contribute offensively, right? Or just period across the board, right? And this is for you, Chris. You look at scoring. Well, you have to break down scoring, right? Interior finishing, post play. Uh, can you score at all three levels? That means at the rim, mid range, uh, 3-point line, free throw shooting. How often do you get to the free throw line? I think the one area that I would say Ron has more potential than Asar Thompson is probably easily most clearly as a 3-point shooter. He's just ahead of the curve. However, I don't know if there's another area that Asar Thompson is better offensively than. Sorry, I don't know if there's another area offensively that Ron Holland is better than Asar Thompson. I just don't. And so when I'm thinking about who has the higher upside, well, I have to ask myself, is Ron Holland's 3-point shooting or his jump shot that much higher in terms of uh, where he's already at beyond Asar Thompson than how far Asar Thompson is beyond Ron Holland when it comes to things like facilitation, playmaking, when it comes to getting on the offensive glass, his ability to, well, his ball handling, I think, is a little bit more advanced than Ron Holland's. I think Ron is like a straightforward scorer, right? When all he's asked to do is straight line drive, is very different than playmaking for others. He's shown some ability, but he's taking steps. I think Asar has had that ability since he got into the NBA to play make for others, to set up an offense. That means to be able to deal with the pressure of a defender while still seeing all four of your other teammates running the offensive system, knowing where everyone is supposed to be, and getting the ball where it's supposed to be while also being ready to make a play in case the defender is pressuring you. I don't think Ron is anywhere near that level of ball handler or necessarily processing the game at that level. I don't know if he ever catches up to those abilities, right? It's almost like looking at, um, let's say, Magic Johnson's playmaking, facilitating abilities, and then Michael Jordan's scoring. Right? I'm not saying either of those, but I'm making that type of differentiation. Both are extremely talented, uh, but one I think has more versatility. And I think you have to ask yourself, well, as good as Ron Holland is, and can is likely going to continue to grow into, would he be as effective in a starting lineup where you have other guys who are ahead of him on a depth chart? What are the other things he can do? And he's not a facilitator, not necessarily a high level playmaker yet. So if Kate is your number one option and you still got Ivy and Duran, Harris, and other guys like that, is he contributing more? And so in that regard, I would still say that Asar Thompson has more potential, has a higher ceiling than Ron Holland. So I would say Asar Thompson. And that's not even getting to the defense. The defense, I think, is clear. As good as Ron Holland is, it's nowhere near what Asar Thompson is. Asar Thompson is just like first team all defense for the next 10 to 15 years type of deal. Like he's one of the few that we'll ever see be able to play his level of defense that he is about to do, that he's about to unleash on this league. Um, I just think he's just so far ahead. So I would have to say Asar Thompson is more skilled across the board and contributes more across the board and on both ends than Ron Holland does. So I'd say Diaz has a higher upside. Great question, though. Your last question for you is going to be: do you see in the foreseeable future with Ron starting at the three and Asar possibly at the four? I could see that. Look, if they come out of training camp and they confirm what I believe, that Asar Thompson has grown in height a little bit. He's no longer just 6'7". He's now looking at 6'8", potentially 6'9" type of deal. I can definitely see a world where they go, hey, you know what? Maybe we already have our solution at the four. Maybe we have a 6'8" plus Asar Thompson and a 6'8" Ron Holland, who's 6'8" with shoes. Right? It's like 6'6" and 3/4 without shoes. All right, so he's about 6'8". You got a 6'7" Cade Cunningham, right? So maybe they say that's our solution there. That's our answer there. So I can definitely see that. Some things that they will have to figure out also though is contracts. Those guys are so talented. It's going to be tough to re-sign all of them, especially with Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren's deals not getting done so far this offseason. I would say that Trajan Langdon's offseason has been C plus B minus. It's good. You've made some quality moves. But Karis LeVert is also very injury prone. Duncan Robinson got into a fight with Ron Holland in a game. Will the chemistry be the same? Will they be able to lean on Karis LeVert, especially when it looks like Bubby Clinton may not be ready? Who knows what we're going to get from Marcus Sasser yet? We haven't seen the training camp. So this could be a team that is goes 7, 8 deep, like Ron Holland, more minutes, Duncan Robinson, Isaiah Stewart. Um, if Karis LeVert is healthy consistently, okay, add him. So that's 9. If Marcus Sasser takes a big jump, okay, that's 10, right? But if not, ooh, good job, Mama. Let me see. Being over here, my daughter just finished doing a little painting thing. Check this out, my little artist. Killing the game. Oh, you didn't tell me the paint was still wet though. Ah, you killing me. You gotta let me know, kiddo. Dang, I got paint on me. Life of dad. Life of a dad. Kid, it's paint. Killing me. Anyways, uh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I don't know if they're gonna be able to re-sign everybody. But I think that that's something that is a good problem to have because even if you can't re-sign them, it's still a hell of a trade asset. But I would give Trajan Langdon a B minus, and I think it will spell out over time, right? If by throughout this season, what kid? If by this season Karis LeVert is healthy all year, Duncan Robinson meshes chemistry wise with Ron Holland and it's water under the bridge, and Isaiah Stewart has another good year. Marcus has like all these things click. Then it looks like okay, you did exactly what was needed. May not have been a lot of moves, but it was the right moves and looks great. What's good, Tony? It's good to see you, man. My brother. Yes. Okay. But if it turns out that Karis LeVert is injury prone, turns out that Marcus Sasser is not ready, if it turns out that Duncan Robinson does not mesh well with the chemistry, right? If these things don't pop, it's going to look like you didn't do enough. So I think the grade, thank you, kid. I think the grade for Trajan Langdon could be a C this offseason. Those are great questions. Let me see. The next team I want to go over is the Indiana Pacers, bro. What's good? What's good, Robert? What's good, man? What's good, man? Man, I don't feel so young no more, man. I don't feel so young, but I'll take it. I'll take it. This over 40 life is real. Um, yeah, I just got jacked on the BART. Not literally jacked, but they got these like new turnstile things, these doors that close automatically. It's going through to the train, with my bike, and it thing just closed and hit me. I'm like, damn, am I getting old? I feel like in my 20s, I'd have figured it out. I'm getting old, bro. I'm getting old, man. I can't do this stuff no more. Anyways, I digress. That was my day. Indiana Pacers. Are we so sure they're going to fall off? I know they'll look different. They will definitely look different. But are they going to fall off? I think a lot of us have clearly earmarked them for a descent, a drop. But are we so sure that Andrew Nimhard doesn't have another level to his game? We've seen him hit big shots. We've seen him play make. We've seen him be a shot creator. Not as consistently, not as someone that the team has been able to depend upon, but he's been able to get buckets. Who's to say he's not in the lab all summer, fine tuning? He doesn't turn a season where he's averaging 18 and 7, right? We know Pascal Siakam, but Obi Toppin looked better and better and better even through the NBA Finals. He's got to be on an all-time high confidence. Aaron Nesmith, probably with the tip dunk of the playoffs on Chet Holmgren. He looked good. You understand, playing in the finals boosts your confidence like few other things, especially if you play well in the finals. If you ball out in the finals, can't nobody really tell you nothing. Yeah, the highest point of competition, I rose to the occasion. I stepped up. And if I'm honest, I think the Pacers dodged a bullet with re-signing Miles Turner. I think they dodged a bullet. It is not the first time he shrunk in the playoffs. It's not the first time, bro. Not the first time. Tony, what's good, man? I still think the Pacers are good. Someone will step up. I do too. Because you know what I always say? In a contract year, players always show up. They always show up. Just like Kristaps Porzingis, I am anticipating he's going to have a big year, play 65 games because he's in a contract year. Well, now we have Benedict Mathurin in a contract year. No extension. The Pacers want to know, is he our future shooting guard? He's pretty much penciled in for that starting shooting guard position. It's his to lose. Now, I'm not saying, and it's another guy I want to get to in a moment. I'm not saying that Jarris Walker can't surpass him. Jarris Walker might be in the lab, right? He might be thinking to himself, yo, man, I should have been getting more playing time this whole time. Hey, you know what? I'm about to show out, show up. And all of a sudden, Rick Carlisle's like, man, we got to start this guy at 3, move Aaron Nesmith to the 2. That could happen. And that would be one of the more devastating defensive starting lineups out there. Not to mention, we still got Jay Huff, only 26 years old. Everything to prove. Everything to prove. James Wiseman returns, right? Plenty to prove. And he's in a contract year. You got Cam Jones, who they drafted, who looked really good. Isaiah Jackson, Quentin Jackson, who looked great in summer league. Isaiah Jackson back from the injury. You still got Johnny Furphy, who had the dunk of the summer league. Y'all see that cockback? He went like, gave him that Vince Carter against Alonzo Mourning. The ugly face, like, get the fuck out of here. And just banged on him. I ain't seen a dunk like that in a minute, bro. It was kind of nasty. They've got a lot of talent on this team. And, less spectacular guys like Ben Shepherd, who can still fill in admirably. There's a lot of guys with a lot to prove, along with TJ McConnell, who had a huge breakout NBA Finals. I wouldn't even say breakout, more just like, yo, he's doing this in the finals. So when I look at these Indiana Pacers, I'm not so sure that they're going to fall off. If everything breaks right for them, this team could be right there with us. They could be right there with us. Get some of these comments real quick. Bet absolutely most guys have something to prove in that contract. Pay me year. Oh, big facts. Big facts. The longer you're in the NBA, especially when you get into that prime, you begin to realize how much of a business it is and also how much of a privileged opportunity it is to make this type of money. You only have so much of a window. Every new contract you get is like a okay, can I get to the next one? You're really looking at possibly 4 contracts at the most for most players, right? 4 like long-term 3+ year contracts. You got your rookie deal, you got your rookie extension, whatever that's going to be, 3 to 4 years. Then you've got the one in your prime, right? Your 26, 27, 25 to 27-year-old range. And then you have your just past your prime, right? Your 30-year-old, 31-year-old, you still contribute at a high level, but you're probably not the guy we want to depend upon for 82 games. And then that's generally it. But for guys who are already role players coming off the bench, third string, spent time in the G League for a few years, right? You're really just going from contract to contract. You're just hoping to stick around as long as possible. So there's a lot of guys who have a lot to prove. They have chips on their shoulder, right? They want to prove that they belong. Benedict Mathurin still needs to prove he belongs. And look, it's one of those things like I think more and more guys are waking up to realizing there's so much talent in this league. You might be hella good, but there might be somebody just as good coming up behind you or available for cheaper right next to you, right? Mathurin, you're hella good, but so is Jarris Walker. So is Johnny Furphy, right? So is TJ McConnell. So is Quentin Jackson. So is Cam Jones, right? You got a lot of talent, not to mention next year's draft. So this is your moment. You either got to put up or shut up. I think the Pacers could be really dangerous. Who else do you guys think? Before I go on to the team that I think next we need to take a look at, who else do you all think could potentially be a threat to the Pistons for that top 3 seed? Let me know in the chat, and I might choose that team to talk about next. Um, did you see that Rajon Rondo? Joe B was good. Did you see that Rajon Rondo said he wanted to work with Cade and help him understand how to manage the game with a couple tweaks? Yes, please. I didn't see it, but yes, please. Yes, please. Joe B, right on it. Right on it. Ooh, Sixers. I was a team I was gonna talk about. I was gonna talk about them for sure. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. Let's do it. Um, yeah, I'm with it. But I would love for Rajon Rondo to work with Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is a guy who has a lot of ability. It is yet to be seen his level of floor generalship. Hawks or possible third seed. Yeah, that's what I talked about first. Yep, facts. Facts. With Trey Young, Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Zachary Risachet, right? Those guys, Onyeka Kongwu, Kristaps Porzingis in a contract year. You still got Kobe Buffkin. You've got guys like uh, Krejci. You got Muhammad Gay. They have a really deep team. If it all comes together, they could be right there. But yes, it is yet to be seen if Cade Cunningham can manage a team in the playoffs. I think it was a little bit easier in these playoffs because it was heliocentric. It was, yo, you go and make the play. You either score or you facilitate a three, you know, kick out to one of these shooters. It was pretty simple. Even though he had complex defenses, he wasn't asked to necessarily make the team better. He wasn't asked to manage the team in that way as much as it was like just manage you and do what you do. And I know I'm oversimplifying, definitely oversimplifying. But I will say that next year is going to be a real testament to his floor generalship, to who he truly is as a leader. Can you get yours as a part of this ecosystem of this team? Because you have so much talent, so many other guys who need to eat, so many other guys who have uh, so much to bring to this team, to this table. So many various skill sets. Can you operate as a part of this collective where everyone's talents are maximized? Or do you end up looking like a Luka Doncic where everything kind of has to be about you for it to work, right? Like, does it all have to be you at the center of it all? And I think that we're going to see that. Rajon Rondo working with him, I think, would be able to help him to develop how to manage the game consistently, how to know when to push, when to assert himself, how to dominate in maybe subtle ways, right? Recognizing what plays are working and run those back to back with your options out of it, right? Being able to read what teams are presenting with and how you can exploit mismatches. Like, I don't see that from Cade yet. I don't see him processing the game at that level, like a Chris Paul or Rajon Rondo or LeBron James, where they find your weakness and they just exploit the hell out of it. So it gives their team the advantage no matter who else they really have on the court. Doesn't have to, he doesn't, those guys don't have to have as much talent to have the same level of effectiveness to win games because they could read the game and exploit you. Can K do that? I would love to see Rajon Rondo on our bench. I would love to see that. If you're JB Bickerstaff, get on the phone with Rajon Rondo. Hey, Rajon, yo, Mr. Rondo, how would you like to pull a Sam Cassell, Tyronn Lue, get on this bench? Yes, sir. Yep, Sports Times, facts. All right, the next team that y'all brought up, let's get into them, is the Philadelphia 76ers. Bro, yes, yes. And on so many, let me just go through. I do not think that this team will be as Joel Embiid dependent as they have been in previous years. With Andre Drummond in a contract year, I think he fills in admirably. Like, crazy enough, Andre Drummond's only 31 years old. Doesn't it feel like he's been in the league for like 3 generations? Feels like he been like he was back there with Greg Monroe and Rodney Stuckey. That's how long he's been around. He's only 31, but he's got a lot of miles on his legs. I still think he has something to contribute. I see Tyrese Maxey, I see Paul George, and I see if those two are healthy, they should be able to win and get over 500 if those two are healthy. Period. Just their skill, talent, experience, gamesmanship, meaning their confidence to step up in moments, know the moments to step. They have it. That's a hell of a 1-2 punch. If Embiid is healthy, even better. They haven't re-signed Quentin Grimes yet, and we'll see. Because if I'm Quentin Grimes, I'm like, I don't know. And if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, after looking at VJ Edgecombe, who you just drafted, you got to be like, I don't know if we need Quentin. I don't know if we need Quentin. Which is kind of a lot to say, as good as he played. But I wouldn't be shocked. You're paying VJ Edgecombe $11 million. And then you have guys like Kelly Oubre in a contract year. As you just mentioned, Sports Times, Jared McCain is back. Is back. It might take him a while to get his legs underneath him again, but I think he's going to be fine, especially next to Edgecombe. Uh, Lonnie Walker's like, fill-in guy. Jared Butler, fill-in guy. Ricky Council, fill-in guy. Adem Bona, he's a great hustle guy. If he's your third string center, I think you're okay. Trendon Watford, I've liked him for a long time. Dominic Barlow, Jabari Walker. This was the guy I wanted us to get, bro. Jabari Walker, bro. Jabari Walker, bro. That's why I wanted us to grab at the 4. I think he's an underrated pickup. And then they got guys like Eric Gordon, Justin Edwards, Janai Broom, right? So they got a decent roster. I don't think it's a great roster. I don't think it's necessarily a dependable roster. I don't think it's a roster you can pencil in. But if everything breaks right, not to mention if Joel Embiid plays consistently, and the only time he's missing games is because of rest versus actual injury, right? If he's finishing the season strong because he's rested, because he wasn't playing back to backs, right? These are things that could really tilt things in their favor. They could be a top three seed easily if healthy, but probably one of the biggest ifs. Between them and the Raptors, huge ifs. Huge ifs. A side note, we got 11 people up in here, only 3 likes. If you could smash the like button for me, I would appreciate it. It's a small thing, but it's a big thing. Really helps out the channel. I appreciate it. And it also tells the YouTube algorithm that you enjoy these interactive lives. You like being able to talk in the chat, and your man 100 grand Ross with the rock never stops is going to talk back to you. All right. Yeah, you can talk with the people in the chat. You're also talking with me. If you have a good point, I'm going to shout you out. If you enjoy that, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe, bell for notifications. With that, let's keep this train moving. Let me see. Hawks. I talked about the Hawks. Melo and Rondo. Cade got options. Melo and Rondo. Who's the other? Oh, Carmelo Anthony. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Carmelo Anthony did say he wanted to work with Cade as well. I think Carmelo Anthony can definitely help Cade with becoming that situational scorer who's far more not just intentional, but has an idea of what he knows what he wants to do. He can survey the defense and know exactly what move he's going to instead of always feeling his way through it. It just adds for more consistency. And I think Carmelo could really help him out with that. I think that's how he takes that leap to like potential MVP candidate. I was on what's his name's space Deuce was Downtown Deuce um Pistons podcast. Let me look at make sure I get his name right. Sorry, it's been a long week and a long day. And a long day. But pull it up here. Yeah, Downtown Deuce. I was just on his platform a few days ago, and one of the things I said was that Cade has a potential opportunity to go from All NBA, making third team, to MVP candidate next year. But that's one of the key areas is knowing how to be a definitive scorer who scores intentionally based upon what he's reading and not always feeling his way out throughout the course of a game to where he can turn it on when his team needs it and then turn it back off when he's deferring. And that's something that SGA does incredibly well. He knows when to step back and allow J Dub to get going. Chet's doing his thing, right? He's got other guys. Okay. I see Case and Wallace is getting buckets. Okay. Keep it going, Isaiah Joe. Okay. Oh, this is my moment. I'm going to rip off 3 baskets in a row, 2 baskets and assists, and get to the free throw line twice. Right? And he could just take over in these spurts and then he closes out games. He knows how to pace himself and preserve himself. Right. And that's something that Kate has struggled with in the past, is struggling to finish the game, right? Getting a little fatigued. And so I think Carmelo can definitely help him take that jump. And then Rondo can also help him with the other jump in terms of game management through the rest of these. Yeah, it's only a couple of tweaks. Uh, Oh, if I can get K to understand how to manage the game because he's a 3 level scorer, he can manipulate the game on both ends of the floor. True. Uh, I think he could become, that one type of point guard. Yeah, I think he has an SGA type of a future. He has an SGA type of an outlook. I don't think he's like pure floor general like a Chris Paul or Rondo. He scores too good to be that, and you wouldn't want him to be that. But I also think that he is someone who can figure out that balance as that lead guard, when to step back, how to push his teammates further. And I think that he takes a big jump there. But having that type of mentorship, I think could really help him out. Could really help him out. What's the next team that you guys want to potentially talk about? Who could potentially rival the Pistons for that top 3 seed? Let's see. Excited to see McCain for a full season. I am too. Imagine if just like every good player, hated Anthony Edwards, and they were determined to Captain Planet all their powers into Cade to oppose him. Yeah, imagine. A lot of imagination. What's good, Broderick Hunter? Salute, brother. It's good to see you, man. Good to have you here. Joe B, like every good former player that is. Oh, snap, you're right. There you are, right on the Downtown Deuces stream. Yep, I was on there a few days ago. We had a great segment right at the end, probably like 30 minutes. We ended up just rolling. I definitely have to do that again sometime. But check out his platform. He's got some great stuff. Uh, Sports time. Did you see Asar's cameo in Sabrina Alanescu's Nike commercial? LOL, I thought that was a pretty cool commercial concept. No, no, I have not seen him. I'm sorry, that's Sabrina Ionescu's uh, Nike commercial. I have not seen it yet, but I will check it out though. I'm happy for him finally getting some shine. Um, I'm also curious if him and his brother are going to figure out like hairstyles to make them more easily differentiated. Like maybe Asar does the blowout and Amen is mostly braids. And I'm sure every once in a while Amen is going to blow it out, do the whole Iverson blowout, and every once in a while Asar is going to put it in braids. But yeah, I'm wondering if they're working that out and they're like, "Hey, man, for us to really be I mean, unless they want to always market themselves as twins, I don't know." But I think that that could be necessary, right? Because they're a little bit harder to differentiate. Not like the Morris twins, where one was kind of like you know, sizably smaller. Even if it's just a couple inches, it was noticeable, and so it was easier to differentiate. Asar and Amen, like they're just. I know Asar is a little bit taller and a little bit bigger than Amen Thompson, but sometimes, man, when they're right next to each other, it's just hard to figure out. Um, Let me see. So with Ivy, Cade will have enough to reach that second gear. I believe so too. But can he manage? That is the question. And that might have to be a time for another video. Can Cade manage? Not just disappear, not just fade to black, not just go and just defer and be passive and non-assertive, but can he figure out how to pace himself rhythmically throughout the course of a game to make sure his team is getting off to a good start, right? Getting other guys going while asserting himself in necessary moments. And then because he's pacing himself, he has enough in the tank at the end of games to close it out. That is a jump. And we'll see if I think that's probably he'll get at the peak of his powers, or not the peak of his powers, but he will step into that elite realm of doing that. I would probably guess in 2 years. I don't think he would necessarily do that by next year because he has to adjust. Just how good is Asar Thompson and Jaden Ivey in the starting lineup with me? Hey, Jalen Duren's taking like he's got to acclimate to that starting lineup, and Ron Holland coming off the bench with Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson, right? As is to there's a lot he has to adjust to. So I think where he really truly finds that rhythm is going to be 2 years from now when I say the Detroit Pistons are going to step into their championship window. Grab some water real quick. Your man is thirsty. Got to stay hydrated out here. Let me see. Who do y'all want me to talk about next? Who could potentially give the Pistons a run for their money in the Eastern Conference playoffs standing? Let me see. What did you say? They're easy to tell apart. Amen has a square face. Asar is more round. True, true. Because Asar is also heavier. He's also bigger. Um, and it does make it a little bit easier. If I'm honest, it does make it a little bit easier. Uh, yeah, it does. I'll give you that. Low key, I low key want Asar to go old school with the high top. Oh, that would be dope, bro. Hey, that would be hella dope. And just embrace being old school. Hey, that would be dope. If he went with just a yo, high top fade or even just high top, you know, one around the sides and the back, almost like a kid in play, that would be clean, bro. I'd be like, bro, yeah, yeah, that could be the mustache is essential though. It is. It is essential. It is essential. You know, I need that Bobby Brown. That I need that old school. I need that old school. All right, who we doing next? Who we doing next? What do y'all think about the Miami Heat? Do you think the Miami Heat can really give them a run for their money? He's got to look like stuff by Convention. Wow, that's a hell of a mustache, Joe B. That's a hell of a mustache. That's a hell of a mustache. But you know what? If he does it, I'm here for it. You know who also got that mustache? Ben Shepherd in Indiana. He looked real corny though. He looked like he's officially at the Republican convention. He was like official from the Key and Peele skit. Um, black guy at the Republican convention. He got the full cut with the mustache, the whole thing. Uh, Sleeves show off his guns too. Yeah, yeah, I can see that too. I can see that too. All right, let me keep it moving. Keep it pushing. What other teams? Let's get maybe get two other teams potentially that could push the Pistons. I really only probably have one other team that I truly see pushing the Pistons, and that is the Heat. They are interesting. The reason why is because Bam Adebayo had a down year last year. It's true, but they also have a lot of guys in a contract year, from Nikola Jovic um, to Fontecchio, who's just with us. Norman Powell just almost had an All Star year last season. Terry Rozier, all these guys are having All Star years. And Andrew Wiggins has the opportunity to opt out of his contract next year, which means he's looking at a potential contract year as well. Bam Adebayo at the 4 in year 2 of officially playing the power forward instead of center with Khalil Ware, who I think is going to be that much better this year, that much more confident, shooting threes, blocking shots, rim running for lobs, dump offs. Um, I think Bam has a good year alongside Khalil Ware. I think Nikola Jovic has a good year. Jaime Jaquez Jr., I think he has a bounce back year. Kasparis Yakashionis, he fell in this draft, and I think he fell a little bit beyond even where he thought he would, but he's falling into a great culture. And I know the whole Heat culture thing. Look, okay, I'm not as big on Heat culture as a lot of people talk about. But I will say this, for someone like Kasparis Yakishonis, Kasparis is the type of young talent. He's talented. He's got a lot of skill. He's like a poor man's Goran Dragic. But with the Miami Heat in a system with a high level coach who can highlight his strengths, minimize his weaknesses, fit him in, I think he's going to eat. I think he'll have an opportunity to come in and be really effective early with everybody knowing how to play around him, maximizing his skill on the court. Now, I don't know if he ever gets to that Dragic level where he's like a fringe all star, right? Because I think he was an all star one year, or he was all in. He was missed the All Star game, but he was all NBA when he was with Phoenix, something like that. But it's to say, if Yakushonis turns out to be that guy, and he looks really good, this team could have levels to it. You still got Andrew Wiggins. You still got Tyler Hero. You still have Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell was a guy I didn't see him taking this step. The step he's been able to take with the Miami Heat in terms of his shooting and scoring and playing within that system that doesn't ask him to do more than what he's capable of doing. Right? Just get us into our offense, play great defense, knock down shots. Kind of playing that, not gonna say quite Fred Van Vliet, but definitely Gabe Vincent type of a role. Back when Gabe Vincent was a primary guard for them, I think it was when they made a finals run or something like that. And they faced the Denver Nuggets and lost. but he was a primary guard. I think they see Davion Mitchell in a similar space, a little bit better defensively, not as good of a shooter, but he improved his shooting drastically, which is what got them into the playoffs. So if you add that confidence boost of what he did last year, and now he steps into this season, I believe he's in a contract year. It shows him in a contract year. He hasn't. It doesn't show his extension yet. 26 years old. Um, so he'll have plenty of motivation, especially with Kasparas Yakashonis right there behind him. And he's got Terry Rozier. So there's a lot of talent. Can they put it all together? I would have to lean towards yes. Hopefully, with more talent, they play a better brand of basketball where they're sharing the ball and Bam finally begins to step up. But even if he doesn't as a scorer, you still got Andrew Wiggins. So I think all in all, the Miami Heat are going to be right there. And they're a wild card. I don't think they have the top end talent to make a run any type of a playoffs, but they definitely have the culture and the depth and enough talent to compete. And if they're relatively healthy, I still don't see them as a top 3 seed. If I'm honest, they can have a great year. I don't see them as a top 3 seed. I just don't. I just don't. Somebody's got to break out. Maybe it's Jovic, maybe it's Jaquez, maybe Wiggins has a resurgence, something Khalil Ware. I don't know. Somebody's gonna have to be something that we haven't seen for me to think that the Miami Heat are gonna really push the Detroit Pistons. But with that, I think that's kind of it. If you guys have any more points before I hop off, I think Atlanta, Indiana have the best chance of pushing the Detroit Pistons for that number 3 seed behind Cleveland and New York. And then you have Toronto and Philadelphia are huge wild cards. They're just so injury prone. They seem a little directionless or stuck in the water. So we'll see how things break with them. And then you have teams like the Miami Heat. I don't think anyone else really is put together enough to make a push. Oh, I'm hella dumb. Yo, how come nobody caught me? Nobody caught me. Nobody called me out. Forgot about the Orlando Magic. None of y'all called me. None of y'all said, "Yo, hey, did you forget about the Magic?" Nobody said that. Come on now, y'all supposed we in this together. We are in this together. The Orlando Magic. If they put it all together, and I don't think it's that big of an if. Thank you, Joe. I love you, Joe, man. Joe, man, you be, bro, man, you be cracking me up, Joe. You be cracking me up, Joe. I love seeing you in my chat, Joe. You. Yeah, yeah. Uh, I gotta figure that out. Right. Barring injury, I think the Pistons are going to be the team that does all the pushing because we pushed damn near every team while we had younger, less experienced team that's still growing. I 100% believe that's why I have them penciled in at the number 3 seed. But the Orlando Magic 100% can push these Detroit Pistons for that number 3 seed. 100%. Look, hey, that's true. You ain't said nothing but the truth, Joe. I, I'll tell you this right now. Orlando Magic, if they have a healthy, and I know that's a whole knock on wood, they have more depth and more talent where they've needed it desperately on the offensive end than they've probably had in this Paulo Banchero, era, right? Mosley, head coach Mosley, Franz Wagner. They've never had this much offensive pop at all. Desmond Bain coming to this team at 27 years old in his prime, he gives them a dimension of scoring that they have not had. They thought KCP was going to be able to bring a little bit of it, but now they bring it up a whole other level with Desmond Bain. Now, of course, KCP is a far better defender than Desmond Bain. Desmond Bain, they will have to cover. But when you see Jalen Suggs, oh, he's covering the whole backcourt. And then you have Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., Jonathan Isaac. You have Anthony Black. Plenty of defenders. Plenty. But what Desmond Bain is going to be able to do offensively, in terms of off ball movement, that's going to open up the defense. They have to pay attention to him. And then you begin to see Desmond Bain off the bounce. He's got a nice game off the bounce. Nice game off the bounce. His ability to consistently create out of the catch and shoot, catch, put the ball on the floor, one dribble, two dribble, either pull up jump shot, get to the rim, or make the correct read. That, I think, takes a lot of pressure off of Jalen Suggs to be that offensive force. When you combine that, you still got guys like Tristan Da Silva, who I like a lot. Jace Richardson, I like him. I like him. He is a bucket, bro. He is a bucket. I'm telling you, I really sons of NBA players do well in the NBA. Let me just, from Scottie Pippen Jr., that's why I'm still high on Bronny James. If you're good enough to get to the NBA, you do well. You do pretty well. And Jace Richardson looked like every bit of an NBA player in this summer league. Every bit. But when I look at some of the rest of this roster, Orlando Robinson, I'm going to start from the bottom up. Orlando Robinson is a solid depth number 3, 4 on your backup center position. Noah Penda, he looked really good defensively throughout summer league. Really heady, smart player, kind of like a more offensive George Niang, a little bit more pop to him. Just a little bit more pop. Almost like a Boris Diaw, with a little bit more scoring. I don't know. He's just got that little bouncy. Like he just finds ways to get a bucket, get a steal, get a rebound, just contribute. You got Tyus Jones. I think he has a bounce back year in Orlando for sure, as that third string guard behind Jalen Suggs and Anthony Black. Then you got guys like Mo Wagner, who should be healthy. Jet Howard, who hasn't been able to crack the rotation really at all. Is he an NBA player? Somebody tell me. I literally just said I'm high on NBA players, but I don't know if head coach Mosey is just like, you just don't play good enough defense. But I would love an explanation why he's not getting playing time at all, especially as high as he was drafted. And you got Anthony Black, like I mentioned, Goga Batadze, Wendell Carter Jr., and you got Paolo Banchero, Jonathan Isaac, Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bain, Franz Wagner. This team is talented as hell. Paolo Banchero being the crown jewel, the center point of this whole team. He's the Cade Cunningham. He's the Anthony Edwards. He's the dude in the playoffs who can get you 28 to 32 points per game in a playoff series. He's shown that. He's shown he could do it. This team could be scary. It's a team to watch out for. 100%. Let me get some of your comments. I'm going to wrap up for today. Let me see. You're talking about, okay. Joe B was talking about the Heat. Yup. Before you go, curious to know if you listen to the Clips album and your rating. Haven't had a chance to, man. I'm gonna be honest. I don't be on media that much. I be in here in my Zen state, hanging out with my daughter, or working, because this ain't my full time. This is what I do on the side, plus some other things. So, haven't had a chance to listen to a lot of albums. Right, the new Burna Boy album came out. A whole bunch of new albums I want to check out, but I'll definitely check out the Clips though as well. Let me see. Orlando wiping everybody next year. I think Orlando's going to be vicious next year. Like, I mean, if I'm honest with you, Orlando is the one team I could see not only pushing the Pistons for that number 3 seed, I could see them pushing for that number 2 or number 1 seed. It's hard to admit it. I could see it. Imagine Paolo and Franz healthy for a full year. Jalen Suggs healthy for a full year. Desmond Bain, addition. the chemistry they have, the wars they've been through. They've had several first round exits already, right? They get to the playoffs. They're no strangers to it. And then you have the new additions, the added depth, the shooting, Tristan da Silva, still got Caleb Houston there. They've got a team that they can put all together. I'll tell you this much. Mobley, I'm not saying their head coach is in the hot seat, but this is the year he has to show he can improve that offense. That offense, he's almost in that Tom Thibodeau year. You better show you can improve that offense. Can't just be a great defense with no offense anymore. Those teams just don't win. And now you have an elite offensive player. I hope they don't do him dirty, fire the brother, and just hire, someone else with some stereotype of, oh, we just needed to take him to the next step. We appreciate Mobley for what he did, but we think we're ready for the next step. Give him a chance. But Mobley should know this is it. This season, they got to come out the gate with an efficient offense, or he could be on the chopping block, winning or not. We saw Dwayne Casey get it. Saw Lionel Hollins get it. We've seen plenty of coaches have winning years. Mike Brown, fired. But hey, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. It's good bounce back. Haven't seen y'all in a while. It's great to see y'all. Tony was good, man. All the Magic need is a veteran point guard. I think they're going to make do with Jalen Suggs for now. They got Anthony Black, but they did sign Tyus Jones, who is that veteran point guard as well. But yo, I hope you enjoyed this interactive live. If you did, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. I truly appreciate it. It's a small thing, but it's a big thing to hit the like button. It means a lot. And when you hit the bell for notifications, it'll let YouTube know that you enjoy being a part of interactive live chats, talking basketball, talking Pistons, talking the NBA, talking the East, right? With me, your man 100 grand, Ross with the Rock never stops. So if I didn't say it again, appreciate you showing up when you could be doing other things. I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.